My video for January the 21st, 2020 is video number 3342. The title is I Dream of Reconciliation for 2020. Many may remember the famous speech by Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream. I'm sure many of us do. Perhaps the evil ones dream of the total conquest of humanity and even creation itself. And I made a mistake. I don't know why I don't see those. Anyway, it seems we are in the throes of one of, if not the greatest struggle in human history. This is a struggle for truth in a polarized world of lies. Truth seems to be a rare commodity. Love is often reduced to sexuality or simply lust. Will the lust for power and control ever be resolved? And will the reconciliation of God and man ever occur on earth? Of course, I was raised with a Christian viewpoint on this, namely, that Christ completed the mission over 2,000 years ago. Of course, it's not true, as we can see in our current events in 2020 AD, where many who call themselves Christians side with warmongers and charlatans. Perhaps all of our major politicians fall into that category. If there are exceptions, they are not as well known. Just look at the stories in our news. Division, not reconciliation, is rampant in both the politics and religion. And I don't need the word "the" there. I didn't know. I don't know why I don't do a better job of editing. I even saw a picture of a giant rift in California after the recent earthquake. These are happening all over the planet in ever greater numbers. There is so much loss of human life and property. Does the Creator hear our cries? Will those of us who also have a dream of peace on earth ever find fulfillment? Many of us still dream. John Lennon wasn't the only one. Oh, as I laid in bed this morning, many thoughts came through my mind, and I just let them flow. And there were two or three that thought that would be a good video. But when I actually get to the computer, I don't even remember sometimes the thoughts I had just maybe 10 minutes earlier before I got out of bed. And it's funny, but maybe it's not. In fact, nothing so much is very funny for me anymore. And I'm sure others are struggling as much as I am. There are still those of us that are dreamers that hang on to the idea that somehow, in some way, we're going to reach a place where we can find harmony instead of the cacophony of sounds and events that just tear us apart and rip at our conscience so that it's totally seared. I understand that the elite are making more and more robots, and even what do they call them? The clones that look human. They look like living human beings, but they're just clones. They're manufactured creations. Of course, I think that all the substances, including the minerals and elements that are used in the creation of anything, I think everything has life. But I don't know that for a fact. But it would seem to me that if that life permeates everything, including water. Water has a memory. I mean, I've watched videos of how even the crystals, when they're formed based on the emotions that are put into the water, that shows up in the crystals. If it's anger and negative emotions, it shows up really, really, terrible looking crystals. And if there's love put into the water, the crystals that form are beautiful. I look for beauty. I look for peace. I look for love. I'd like to find harmony. I'd like to experience reconciliation on earth, not in some other place, but heaven on earth here, now in 2020. I'm tired of waiting for something that I've dreamed about all my life to come into actual fruition. Now, I had a talk with one of my friends yesterday, actually more than one, but one particular friend. I had to talk, and he reminded me that at the end of every day, you're supposed to let go. Well, I try to do, the key word is try to do that. But even if I do that, or when I do that and I'm able to fall asleep, sometimes that takes a while, I wake up the next day and there is a repetition of the thoughts from the day before, and there's a continuum of struggle, a continuum of the realization that things are not happening the way I thought they would. Again, 2012 came and went. Did we see the positive changes? I started my daily videos in January 2011, thinking that that was the year. But then, okay, maybe it was wrong. Maybe it was 2012, not 2011. But this is 2020, folks. And we have Donald Trump. He's not draining the swamp. He's part of the swamp. The warmongers are the modern state of Israel and the United States. And of course, the 3 city-states that have ruled the world for a long time through the monetary system and through our religions. And of course, the politics is how the war games are carried forward. We live on a planet of total insanity run by demons. I mean, yes, they look human, but they seem to lack compassion. Now, that's not true of all of them. There are some in higher places that do seem to be waking up. I mean, I have a friend in Israel, and he's very metaphysical, and he's working for some of the same things that those of us that are peace lovers are working toward and working for. So there are people in all races. When I say races, I think really the human race, but of red and yellow, black and white, of all the various seeming individual races within the human family, but it's still the human family. And yet there's some that don't seem human. They are clones. They are demons in human bodies or in human uniforms. And it has to change, doesn't it? Don't we have to reach a place where God takes responsibility and empowers those of us that have high ideals and good motivations, not for control, but for erasure of the barriers and for reconciliation of all the problems? And there's police cars going by outside as I draw this video to a close. Always, always something. Folks, I appreciate those of you that take time to listen. I appreciate those of you that say thank you when I send you a birthday greeting, which I try to do every day, but I still wait for real change. Thank you for listening, and namaste.